Welcome back everyone to It's Not Easy Being Green Screen with this fantastic Sega racer on the Amstrad. Yes, the much benign, very exciting in the arcades actually, Power Drift. Released in 1988. Kind of a kart racer. I think an early sort of like stunt style car racer. Very interesting tracks, the way it's sort of, way the ramps go up and down. Like an assault course kind of kart racer kind of style, with lots of very colourful and unique characters. Colourful being the actual word, because this game is extremely colourful on the Amstrad. A very good version actually, a very good port, very enjoyable game. Actually, I actually got this on full release back in the day. Lots of colour there, as you can see. Plenty of colourful characters to choose from. Third or better. We're just going to be the man with the moustache. Going to be Magnum PI. And yes, the colour palette of the Amstrad really utilised well here. It's not the smoothest of frame rates, you got to admit, but it does have a nice sense of speed, and the responses are good. The crash sequence is nice. You can really have a lot of enjoyment with this game. Got a lovely detailed HUD at the top with all the positions of the characters. It's really cool. Good sound effects as well, decent sound effects, and a really fantastic title tune at the beginning. But again, it's a situation of all this colour, all this lovely detail. What happens when you strip all that away and we bring it back to all the grassroots of green? One thing to note is that all the rival cars are green in this. I think they all are. Yes, I believe they are. But all the rival cars are actually just colour green, and you've got a lot of green scenery. These cacti at the side of the road, all green. And of course the other thing you've got is the texture in there on the ramps. Oh, it looks a bit like old CRT static, doesn't it? That does. Bit jarring on the eyes. I wonder how that's going to fare. I didn't fare very well there, did I? I crashed straight to the back of that dude. I wonder how that's going to fare in green. So we'll pause the game and we'll switch to green and see what happens to this roadscape. Oh my, right, okay. So obviously we've got the lovely blue sky is now turned into a lovely green sky. The Green Lantern Apocalypse is coming, which is obviously the same colour as some of the landscaping now. But I tell you what, the detailing has actually been kept rather faithful there. You can actually see the outlines. There's a certain odd thing going on, and I'll tell you that in a minute. Here we go, see what the ramp looks like. Ooh, yeah, still a bit jarring on the eyes. Probably a little bit more jarring on the eyes, and there's a little bit of blending in with your main pixel sprite there, your main car sprite. But I tell you what, this is still perfectly playable. Still visually, it's yet very detailed. You can still see a lot of things going on. Some of the text on the HUD at the top there is a little bit too dark, so it's a bit, you have to squint a bit to read some of that. I wonder how some of the other courses would fare. It'd be interesting to see how some of the other courses would fare this, because there's very different amounts of colour used on the different courses, the desert courses, the city courses and stuff like that. So I don't, oh bloody hell, them cars got really lost. The rival cars there, which are green in colour normally, they got really lost there on the ramp, didn't they? I couldn't quite see that there was two of them at one point. And here we go, that's the finish line. Finished third. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad actually. It loses its character. It certainly does lose its character, as all that colour is just gone. Oh, and of course we can't see the start lights properly. The start lights are just all green, of course. We can't see the start lights. We get the idea though, don't we? We still get the idea. So I'm just going to sort of adjust to this and see if this would be tolerable for extended play. I kind of think the eyes would sort of like start to wane after about 10-15 minutes, especially on these portions here. Because as much as that's a bit distracting, even in colour, with green it just seems to be slightly more straining on the eyes there, on the old eyeballs. Road surface, it doesn't really affect anything, that's fine. Everything seems to contrast really well still. So yeah, you could perfectly acceptably play this in green screen back in the day. It is a little bit, like I say, a little bit more eye straining. Especially these sections, but yeah, you'd be fine. You'd be fine. You wouldn't be. It was not an impossible game to play at all in green at all. Some of the shades are actually rather similar, but the distinction between the areas, the sprites, the backgrounds, and the street furniture and all that is still there. So that's good news. So it survived the green screen treatment, did power drift. Like I say, you're just stripping away its character by taking all the colour away, unfortunately. So there you go. Thanks for watching. It's not easy being green screen, and I'll see you next time. Novabug, out.